What's up, guys? I'm just a gamer and I'm back with another video. And yeah, Dragon Age the Veilguard had a QA today, and it was pretty much nothing really. I mean, they were all softball questions that got softball answers, and the few things they did talk about we kind of already knew or kind of already figured out. So it was just a very nothing really QA in that's my opinion. And I'm still just worried about the game. Again, let me clarify. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying I hate it. Obviously, I'm not gonna know anything until I play, until I get and play the game myself. But as it stands right now, I still have some misgivings about the game, and it's not just about one thing. Some people I spoke with, like, they'll say that it's just the art style that you're upset with, and it's like, no. Is it just the combat you're upset with? No, it's a myriad of little things that I'm just not completely on board with, and I just want to lay them all out, like what my thought process is. So let's just take it slow to get the big one out of the way, and the one I've talked about the most, if you've seen my previous Dragon Age videos, the Veilguard videos, is the art style. I'm just really not feeling it. It looks to me very cartoony and Fortnite-ish, especially when it comes to like enemy designs. They just look like very like family-friendly demons, like monsters that you can give your kid to play and kill or fight in a, like, a E for everyone game. Again, I know the game is rated mature. I know it has blood and gore and nudity and like romance, sex scenes, whatever, but it's just the vibe this art style is giving to me. It's just very cartoony. I don't know how else to say it. And yeah, it doesn't seem very dark fantasy, which is what I liked about Dragon Age. It was a dark fantasy game, and the art style here, it looks like very just regular or high fantasy. It does not look like dark fantasy. And then, not to mention, like, something about the inventory screen we saw recently. Again, it's just the art style, but like, your character looks very stumpy and small in your inventory screen. Like, it's supposed to be an elf, but for whatever, like, it kind of looked like a dwarf to me. And I think it's just the way they have it set up, or the way they have your character angled. Because if we look back to like Inquisition and their inventory screen, the way it's like the camera is kind of like looking up at the characters, and it has like this sense of power and dominance because you're looking up at them. And here the character is like looking like straight at you, and almost you're looking kind of like above them, at least it looks like to me. So the character comes off as looking a little short and stumpy. And yeah, again, it just has to do with the art style. And again, maybe I'll get used to it. Maybe as I'm playing the game, that'll fade away. But for now, that is something that I'm just like, I'm totally not on board with. And it's a worry of mine. It's a worry. But, again, that's not a make it or break it for me. I still want to try the game out, despite the, me not being a fan of the art style. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is the combat. And for those of you who've seen my reaction to the high-level combat video, you'll know that I said that the gameplay looks solid. It looks fine. Your dodging, parrying, your attacks, they all look fluid, smooth. They look like they have heft to them. Enemies don't look spongy. They look like they actually take hits, and they have some heft to them as well. And overall, it looked okay, but it just seemed to lack impact. There was like no wow factor. That's especially so when it comes to like the few combos they showed with your companions. They had like no oomph to them. They felt like they lacked impact. Yes, the health bars went down by a considerable amount, but there was like no visual oomph. There was no wow, that looked badass. No, whoa, that felt powerful. It just felt very like, okay, it happened, that was it. Especially when it comes to the ultimate, when the giant arrows came down and then the cannonball. Just the fact that the arrows were giant looked a little goofy to me and made me laugh. Maybe if they were like smaller arrows and more of them, it would look more cool. But as it stood, it was just like, it looked kind of goofy and cartoony with these giant magical arrows coming down. And then, again, when it comes to your companions, at this point, it looks like they're just there for flavor, because they lacked, honestly, any outside of priming and detonating combos, they seem to do they seem to have no impact on the fight, on the battle at all. They did such minuscule damage, they couldn't even take out the grunt enemies, the Hurlocks, by themselves. Not until you did a combo or a priming and detonating combo with them. And it's just like, we're supposed to be this group of badass people that can take out all these guys by working together, but it's just your character doing everything, and they're just there priming and detonating the combos. They're not really doing anything. And the developers said, you can't control the companions, but because of that, they're gonna have like their own personalities on the battlefield. They're gonna do their own tactics and attack certain enemies by themselves. And they really didn't show that, or at least I didn't see it. They just seemed to like go up to enemies and attack, and did very little damage until you finally did a priming detonating combo with them. And even then, like, the combo lacked impact. The one that clear in my mind is the one where you freeze everyone and then you tell Lucian to do eviscerate to detonate the combo. And again, yeah, the health bars went down, but visually it lacked impact. And yeah, it looked very I don't know. I'm not really gonna say what I was gonna say, but it just, so far the combat has not wowed me. There's no wow factor to it. And on that note, when it comes to the warrior and rogue's gameplay, I really didn't see anything differentiating them playstyle wise. I mean, as a warrior with a sword and shield, I'm assuming you're supposed to be like a tank, and you're supposed to be like heavier and meatier, and you're supposed to be like tanking hits, going in on the enemy's face, and like going to town on them. And as a rogue, you're supposed to be like whippy dippy, attack from the sides, attack from the back, assassinate. And yeah, I really didn't see none of that. They both played, pretty similarly. Dodge, parry, go in, attack, use abilities, and that was it. I mean, even funnier is the fact that high level warrior, the gameplay style seemed very similar to like the very beginning rogue. Like, outside of obviously the warrior had more abilities, but yeah, they both played very similarly. And then we've only seen a few, not even minutes, maybe seconds of mage gameplay, and I'm curious as to how they'll differentiate the different specialities of that class, because you can't be a support mage in this game. I mean, you wanting to hang back, heal, and buff your allies so that they can, go to town and do work, I just don't see it happening, because your companions do so little damage outside of priming and detonating combos that there's just no way. These fights would take way too long. So I'm wondering how they're going to differentiate the three specializations for the mage to make them really feel unique, or if they're just going to play very similar to each other, just different flavors. That's just, again, to clarify, I just have too little information. Maybe when I get my hands on it and I really get into it, the combat's gonna feel awesome and amazing, and they're gonna feel so different from each other that I was talking crazy. But as it stands now, the gameplay to me just looks fine. It looks solid, it looks safe. There's just no wow factor to it yet. For me, there's no wow factor to it yet for me. The last thing I want to talk about is the story. And it's honestly not even the story, it's just like a little tiny bit that the developers, when the game, even before it became Veilguard and it was still Dreadwolf, the developers talked like, hey, your character's going to be a nobody, they're not going to be a chosen one, they're going to be like a regular Joe who has to like rise to the occasion and like build themselves up to greatness. And they were talking about it as if it was like something new. And it's not. I mean, in Dragon Age Origins, the 5 Origins, you are a nobody, and you're either from a noble family, Dalish or slave elf, I forget the name of it, or a higher or lower caste dwarf. And even then, you're like brought down to be a Grey Warden. So it's like you're technically a nobody who has to eventually rise to become the hero of Ferelden. And then in Dragon Age 2, you're a noble fleeing from the Blight. You get to Kirkwall poor, and you're in Kirkwall as a nobody, and you have to literally go from rags to riches until you become the hero of the wall, the hero of Kirkwall. The only one I can think of is that they're referring to is Inquisition, where you get sucked into the Fade and you are touched and chosen by Andraste to save the world. But spoiler alert for those of you who haven't played Inquisition, a big reveal of that game is that you are in fact not chosen by Andraste. You are in fact a nobody who was in the wrong place at the wrong time when Solus did his thing, and they just got caught up in the situation, the explosion, and just things escalated from there. You were a nobody. That was one of the bigger revelations of Inquisition. You were in fact not chosen. So when it comes to Veilguard, and they're like, you're going to be a nobody, so you have to like rise, you have to like prove your worth, and it's like, that's always been the case when it comes to Dragon Age. And then, not to mention, funnily enough, like, Solus, you interrupt his ritual where he was going to move those gods into another jail cell he built, but because you interrupted the ritual, he gets stuck in the jail that he had set up for them. So now, because of your connection to him and the Fade or the Veil, like, he tasks you with saving the world. So an elven god chooses you to save the world. Just clarifying that. I just want to make sure of that, like I'm hearing that correctly. But yeah, it's just that little thing that I was just like, why are they making that seem like it's that's something new? It's not new. It's been like every other Dragon Age game, except for I guess Inquisition, unless you didn't know that, didn't get that part of the story. I don't know. But yeah, it's just that little thing story-wise that I was just like, what the hell? And then obviously, the fact that everything that would happen in Inquisition, like now that they put it like it's 9-10 years in the future or in the past from Veilguard, like they're giving them enough buffer room so that those decisions or whatever you made, yes, they'll still have impact, but they're not going to have as much impact as if it's been a year later, 2 years later. They're giving themselves room to like move away from whatever happened in Inquisition. Honestly, that's what it feels like to me. But yeah, these little things worry me. They worry me. That's all. Again, I'm still gonna play the game. I'm hoping for the best. I want it to be good. But these are some small worries I have about the game right now. And maybe in an hour from now, after I post this, or another day from now, they're gonna do a big old like info dump, and we're gonna get answers to all these questions and problems that I have. I'm gonna be like, holy cow. But for now, yeah, I still have these worries about the game. And another thing I'm curious about that they really haven't talked about anything outside of combat. Like they talk about the lighthouse where you're going to be able to interact with your companions, and I think they even talked a little bit about Minrathous and how you're going to explore this giant city, but nothing outside of that. And they've even said that the game's not open world, so I'm curious if this game is very similar to Dragon Age 2, in where like Minrathous is like Kirkwall, where that's like a big city you can explore, and then you leave it, or you leave the tower wherever, because I'm pretty sure the tower is in Minrathous or connected to Minrathous or whatever. You leave to like these other locations and just go through them, similar to Dragon Age 2, and maybe certain paths in those areas are blocked off until you get a quest or you advance the story enough that path is now unblocked and you're able to go down wherever you couldn't go down before. I'm curious if that's the way this game is gonna go. And I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just curious because this isn't supposed to be RPG, and I'm just seeing a lot of action, and yeah, I'm not seeing enough of the RPG in there. So yeah, this could be totally unfounded, unwarranted. I could be completely wrong, but so far these are just my worries, and I'm hoping for the best. I want the game to be good. I'm hoping for the best. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Those are my misgivings? Or do you have any misgivings like me? Do you agree, disagree? Do you have info I don't know? Do you have different takes? Let me know in the comments down below. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. Just let me know. Just, hey, be respectful. And yeah, but thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing or dropping a like. I'm streaming on Twitch, so please consider following me there at twitch.tv/justagamerink, all together in word, or you could click link below. But again, yeah, what are your thoughts? Are you on the boat? Are you, like, you know, hesitant like me? Like, just let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. I would really, really like to know. Regardless, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care and have a good game.